I made $40,000 in a month, and it didn't happen until I stopped thinking like this. Because there was a time where I thought more hustle, more hours working led to more success. You know, the classic wake up early, stay up late, first one in the office, last one to leave. Just totally overwork yourself, and that's the key in the path to being successful. And it wasn't all my fault, and it's probably not your fault either that you inherited this playbook. For me, I have grandparents that are immigrants from Italy, and they started two successful restaurants in the United States. And it was from watching them take on each day that I thought, okay, this is what it takes to be successful. I got to put the time in, I got to work harder, and I almost need to welcome complexity and chaos. And then beyond my grandparents, I inherited it as well, working in college basketball for 6 years under Dan Hurley, two-time NCAA basketball champion. It was during those years, 90-plus-hour weeks, being grateful for the position I was in, not asking for anything more, and just putting your head down and grinding. So through those two experiences with my grandparents and then with basketball and even doing well in college, I felt that that's how I had to take on the business world. But here's the truth that no one wants to tell you. Hard work alone is not your ticket to 40K months or even beyond. It's actually the thing that's keeping most entrepreneurs and coaches and consultants in 2025 stuck. So coming from a family of hustlers, grandparents, fresh off the boat of Italy, landing in New Jersey and New York to set off and start an Italian restaurant in New York City, one of the most competitive markets ever. They had no investors, no days off, no vacations. My dad even started working for the restaurant when he was in his team. And I'm so fortunate that that work ethic did get passed down to me, but it actually has hurt me during my journey of becoming a coach and an agency owner. And then in college basketball, you were taught that respect was given to you if you were the first one in the office and the last one to leave, and if you were Mr. Reliable and always willing to do more than the average person. So naturally, when I left basketball in 2020, I decided to go all in on business, and I kept that same work ethic and that same mindset moving forward. You know, work more, post more, push harder. That's what I thought it meant to grow. But here's the crazy part, and it came at a very humbling moment. I was working far more and not making nearly as much as I thought. And the people who knew less than me and were working less were making a lot more than me, probably 10x. Because there's a big lesson in there. The person who doesn't know as much as you is willing to take more action. And that just didn't sit right with me. And I bet it won't sit right with you either if you're going through the same thing. But then I started to notice something. And I noticed something very different. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs that I knew, multimillionaires, ones that I was working with within my agency, were completely scattered. Their focus was all over the place. They had ego issues and imposter syndrome, and they always felt like they were one step behind despite having the money and the success that most of us desire. But they had no focus, and they were in constant motion, and they also felt that while being in motion, that was the hard work that took to pay off to become successful. But they didn't take a step back to reflect and actually see the game plan of what they were trying to do to begin with. And that's when it really hit me. It's not about how much you work, it's about how clearly you focus. So now I truly believe it's not about working harder or grinding. I'm actually so anti-hustle culture and hustle mania that I once believed was the path. But now it's about focusing better. And I live by this analogy that you should have your focus inch wide, mile deep versus mile wide, inch deep, which on the latter, most people are living that way. And I didn't need more hours because like you too, I'm sure you're thinking, my calendar's filled up. How am I going to get all the things I want to get done? I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm creative. I have a little bit of ADD, ADHD, and I want to try new projects, but I'm just not accomplishing anything that I want to accomplish. And then you get to a point where you build out the whole to-do list and you realize that you're just building this endless list that you're not even going back and accomplishing. So it wasn't about having more hours. It was about needing more clarity and better focus, and to ultimately find a system that can do all the work for you. And fortunately now with AI and all these tools, we can build out a system that does the heavy lifting without us having to work 10 hours a day. And this was the changing point. When I stopped trying to be the hardest worker in the room or outwork everyone in the world and started dialing the right things and taking time to reflect and journal on what I was actually doing so I could create the best message, the best offer, the best system to deliver the best results for my clients, having the greatest content system that also didn't require me to post every single day, which is a whole nother story for another day about how I built a 100,000 person Instagram page from posting every single day, multiple times a day, and doing it for 4 years straight. Yes, it made some money, but man, it was not a path to growth to post every day. And that's a big thing that people think they need to be doing to get to the results they want. But if your messaging is dialed in, your content system is dialed in, and your client acquisition process is on autopilot, that's when things start happening. And that's when I started hitting 40K months. And I realized I was working less than ever before. And again, like I wasn't posting daily. I had built a brand that had a lot of respect. So I started to close deals without taking sales calls. Like all these things that I believed and learned from coaches and gurus and books that you had to do, the 2-step close or the triage call and the whatnot, like none of that mattered because I spent time building the right core thing, and that was my brand. Like, take this for example. When you buy from Amazon or luxury brands or even sports tickets, you're not on the phone with the salesperson. You're just buying off their website. And why? Because they built that relationship capital with you. They built that brand that you trust. There's no difference between them and what you would do with your coaching or consulting business. But just people think that that's the way to do a coaching business or sell coaching is one way, and that's Amazon and whatnot. But it's business at the end of the day. It's about building a trustworthy brand and giving them the sales process where you can close without having to take a sales call. And the good news is you only have so much time in a day to take sales calls, right? You could probably take 5 or 6 a day as a single person before you have to hire closers and appointment setters and you start cutting into your profit. But when you're selling without sales calls because you built out the system the proper way, like I teach my clients through the River Method, you can have 100 sales conversations in a given day, moving people along, nurturing them in a processed way to then close them on autopilot while you sleep and at any given moment without having to be chained to your phone or on Zoom. And then beyond that too, not sending cold DMs, which I did plenty of when I was starting out in my business. Because with cold DMs, there is no brand, there's no authority, there's no credibility. You are reaching out to them, you're throwing yourself in their face. But what's much better is to have people coming to you as a magnet, as an attraction system. My whole program is modeled around this magnetic mentor and being magnetic and having people come to you versus going out to them and sending cold DMs. And through all this, I wasn't burnt out anymore. I was actually more fulfilled than ever before. And then I started delivering this to my clients. They started to feel the same outcomes. So like truly, here's the real flex in business. It's not being the busiest. Building the quietest system, like almost like a silent sales system that works behind the scenes. One that brings the right dream clients to you on a daily basis while you just live your life. And your life is the brand. You should be showing the great things that you're doing, traveling, living this freedom lifestyle, whatever it is that you sell, fitness coaching, relationship coaching, you should be showing that on a daily basis and not be chained to your desk trying to get someone to buy your program and get them on a sales call. So, but let me get something really clear. Like hard work is noble. Don't get me wrong. I think we all need to work in a diligent way towards our goals. But I think there's a complete misunderstanding that adding chaos and complexity and more hours and more time to your work, to your business is not the answer to get to the revenue numbers that you want. It's spending time on the foundational pieces, building the right messaging, the right brand, the right offer, and having the right content system or sales system to get the right people in the door to then get them to become clients. That's where your time and your energy should be focused versus knocking on every single door that you could see and trying to sell them into your program. Because at the end of the day, people don't buy coaching. They buy the coach. You need to have created a system where people are bought into you, that they trust you, that they know that you can help them get to where they want to get to. And beyond that, you're an enjoyable person to be around. And if you're coming off with the wrong energy, you're not going to be able to give that great aspect. You're not going to be able to give that energy off to the right people. So again, hard work is noble, but clarity and leverage, that's what can make you rich. And not only financially, but with time and location freedom, which is what I possess. And I think that beats any dollar amount. To be able to do what you want when you want is one of the greatest feelings, and not having to be stressed about where your next client is coming from. That's the key to building a coaching business online. That's what you want to achieve. So if you're a purpose-driven coach, and you want to add 10 to 40K a month profit to your business using Instagram alone, we won't even worry about all the other platforms. We just use Instagram. I will implement bolt on my specific simple ad strategy to your business, rebrand your content, and set you up for success where you're working less and earning more in just 16 weeks. And we'll start scaling intentionally. So if that's for you, subscribe to the channel, like this video. You could also DM me on Instagram at @IamOwenSamarone, and we could have a conversation on why you're a good fit for what we have for you. And I'll show you how to hit the revenue months that you want without burning out, posting daily, or even taking sales calls. So if you enjoyed this video, I got plenty more on my channel, but check out this one in particular. It'll walk you through how you can add $20,000 profit to your business with just Instagram and scale with flow and not force. I'll see you there.